Hello, fiber fans, friends, and followers. My name is Beth, and I'm here to talk about everything I finished knitting this year. I may get into what I started but didn't finish, but we'll see where this goes. We'll see what kind of time it looks like. And I wanted to point out that I brought my poinsettia back in the room because it is just so lush, so big, so amazing. I don't know, perspective may not be there. Look how big this thing is. Oh, a leaf just fell off. It doesn't matter. I'll get new ones. This thing is just amazing. I just watered it yesterday, and I think that just made it come out so much more. So the abundance of nature never fails to impress me. I mean, this thing, I paid $7.99 for that at the grocery store. I was like, is this the only thing that hasn't gone up because of inflation? That was a great deal. And I even thought about like going back to the store and getting more of them because I was like, this is such a good deal for the amazing hugeness of this beautiful plant. Anyhow, this is not a gardening channel. This is a knitting channel. So today I'll be talking about everything I finished this year, and I'll leave out all the yarn details. You can find that all listed below. I did have to go searching for some of these to figure this out. I had to look at my Ravelry project page and figure out what I did and in what order. And let me tell you, this year has been different for me. I just looked over and I see this hunk of metal sitting on top of my neighbor's house, and I'm like, I wonder if they know that's there. Is that there on purpose? It doesn't look like it's supposed to be there. Anyhow, distraction. I'll have to talk to them. So this year, this was one of my few finished sweaters, and I believe every sweater that I finished was because I was accountable to someone else. Which, you know what? I think I may go into some of my comments from last week, because last week I talked about, do you want to be part of an accountability group? And I do want to start that. Probably not yet. Probably after the Knitting McPurley retreat. I think that'll be the timing that works for me. And that is coming up January 30th. I'm so excited. January 30th to February 2nd. So after that weekend, I will likely record another video to talk about all of the fun things that happened there. I'm sure it will be. Anyhow, this sweater that I am wearing was a test knit. It was for Minimi Knit Designs, and this was intended to be a summer tee, but I used a fingering weight held together with a Surrey alpaca light fingering or lace weight, and it really did not, it doesn't feel like a summer knit. I might be able to wear this on a cooler summer day or a spring fall day without something underneath, but I do feel like this is very wintry. Plus, I don't know if you can see, it's overcast today, so I don't know how well you can see sparkle in this, but there is, my fingering weight yarn has a sparkle in it, and that was Why Not Fiber Stardust. So I have only seen Why Not, for the most part, at different shows, different venues, yarn fairs and such. I have never I rarely see them on Instagram unless they're saying, hey, come see us at this yarn festival. So I don't know how much online business they really do. And I don't believe they have a physical location other than going to the fairs. So that's what I'm wearing. Seashell Sweater Light by Minimi Knit Designs. It was a test knit. It was a great knit. I highly recommend it to anyone who is looking for something that is ribbed and more fitted. And if you did it in a lighter yarn, it would be a great summer tee. My next finished object was the World's Simplest Mittens by Tin Can Knits. I gave them as a gift, so I no longer have them to show, but I will put in a picture somewhere on the screen and you will see that as I'm speaking about it. When I spoke about my school year last year, I was extremely stressed about a situation with a coworker. They were made from leftover yarn from the Letho sweater that I had made. I finished that in 2023, I believe. So I gave those to the teacher that I worked with, or one of the teachers that I worked with last year. And shortly after that, I chose to switch to another classroom. In the wake of all of this, I got sick. I believe that was because of the stress of dealing with the work situation. And I am so happy that's over now. I am so much happier in my current position. Everything is good. I gave those mittens away and I'm glad they're gone from my life. There's nothing wrong with the mittens. The mittens were great. The pattern was great. I wish I had them to wear for myself. My next finish was Fruit Stripe Gum Socks by Leah Oakley. I'm gonna grab, I forgot to grab sock blockers, and I have like 4 pairs of socks here that I need to put on blockers. So I'll be right back. These are sock blockers from Knit Picks. I don't remember what I paid for them. They were a good price at the time though, and that's why I chose them. So what I'm gonna do with each of these pairs of socks is probably just put one on the blocker, but know that these are completed pairs because I do knit my socks 2 at a time. Typically speaking, I do cuff down. All of these are cuff down. This is the only pair that I used a pattern for, and I believe I started them in 2023. So this is how it looks. The fruit stripe gum, I believe the reason they call it that is because it looks like those bracelets that you used to make out of the gum wrappers when it's finished with this rib look. But when you put it on and it stretches it out like that, it doesn't have as much of that effect. I loved this pattern. It was fun to knit. If I were to do it again, I would follow the stitch counts that they suggest because I thought I knew better, because I have knit so many vanilla socks on my own that I know my knitting. I usually do a 56 round leg, and this, it needed more because I think I've described this before. If you're familiar with a Chinese finger trap, it's like a spiral ribbed, I think it's usually like in leather or something, and you put your fingers in like this, and then when you pull out, you can't get your fingers out unless you like maneuver it differently. Same thing happens with these socks. When I try to take these socks off, I have to like push down a little bit at a time, and they get stuck on my leg. So Here's the second sock. I do have both of them. See how this one, you can see it looks more like that little bracelet that you make with those gum wrappers. I don't know. Any of you who were kids back in the 70s and 80s, that you probably remember that. I remember making those, but not, I never got to a whole bracelet. Shocking, isn't it? Shocking that even back then I had works in progress that I didn't finish. Even as a kid. All right, so that's those. My next, sorry if the desk is wobbling. My next finished object would be a pair of vanilla socks. This is yarn that was gifted to me by Terry, who is one of my knit group friends. Hi, Terry. Thank you for this. Okay, this is Patons Kroy Socks. She gifted me this yarn at holiday time last year, and they're clearly not a perfect match because I didn't care. I was just, because of all the stress I was going through and the subsequent illness, I decided I just need easy things to knit. So my next 3 finished objects are vanilla socks. So I do have a vanilla sock recipe, and I typically follow pretty much the same thing. I might vary how many I do on the cuff and how many I do on the leg. And depending on the yarn, it's going to be maybe different numbers of rounds on the foot. But this one, I did, what was I going to say about it? Oh, what I wanted to say about this is my first time using Patons Kroy. No, it's not. This is my first time making a full leg pair. My first pair of socks, they were a shorty that I learned from Earth Tones Girl on her channel. She has a whole series of sock making videos, and any of you who are hesitant to make socks, watch her videos. You can see like every last detail. She talks about different types of needles, and like she goes through everything. So I started with a Patons Kroy, and now that I'm experienced and using Patons Kroy, I feel like it's different because I've done so many hand-dyed yarns that I didn't realize how thick and luscious socks could be on a Patons Kroy base. So these are awesome. Get you some Patons Kroy if you're interested in knitting socks. My next finished object is another pair of vanilla socks, and this is Regia. So this was not, I was not in my hand-dyed phase here. This was Regia, I don't know how you say it, and I'm trying to get it on the sock blocker all the way. Maybe this sock blocker is bigger than my foot because I don't have trouble getting these on. So this is one of their, is it City Streets? Yes, City Streets color in Manhattan, colorway 2892. So again, a vanilla sock. If you're interested in my vanilla socks, if you look at my project page on Ravelry, I detail everything that I do on my socks typically, with the exception of the next pair. Because for some reason, I do not have this one on Ravelry at all, and I had to look through my drawer of scraps in order to find out what this yarn even was. So this is unusual for me. Did not get this one on Ravelry, but this is Holly Press Fibers. It was a sock set. This is what I found in my drawer. So I forgot when I got to the heel that there was a contrast color for the heels and toes, and I didn't do it. So unfortunately, I did not do that, but I have 2 socks that are exactly the same, and I'm going to have to figure out some other way to use up this yarn. I do feel like, I haven't weighed this as of recently, but I feel like I could probably get a good pair of shorties out of that, and maybe even better than shorty. I don't know. The other one that I do not have here is a pair of socks that I knit for my son. Oh, I also want to point something out. I thought this was interesting with my socks. Purple, blue, purple, blue, purple, blue. This happened because I have multiple purple t-shirts. I have like plain long sleeve purple t-shirts. I also have some short sleeve ones too. I probably have 2 short sleeved and 3 long sleeved, plus some that are printed with something on them. So mostly what I wear in my daily life is plain t-shirts, and then I throw a cardigan on over it. So in order to match all my purple shirts, I wanted socks that had purple in them. And then of course, the other socks I finished blue. So blue and purple, yeah, it was a blue and purple sock kind of year. The other socks that I finished this year were socks that were for my son. And I made those. I will put a picture in somewhere. It is from the Adriafil Calzaaocks in the colorway 164. I loved this colorway. My son picked out this sock yarn when we were in Wyoming, and I made the socks for him, and we had a contrast heel and toe because the person who was helping us at the store had suggested that, you know, because he has a male-sized foot, I might need more yarn for that, which I think I would have been fine doing it all in just the yarn that they had, but being that I am a cuff-down sock knitter, I thought, better safe than sorry. Let's get the contrast color. And oh, I actually have that right here because I'm planning another sock, which I will talk about in my next podcast episode. So, that's all the socks I finished this year. So sock blockers are going with the socks. Then my next finished object is this one. I get raves about this all the time, and it isn't really finished. I have not woven in the ends. That's really the main non-finished part of this. But this is scrapped again. It was a test knit from Ksenia Nedian, and I have a coworker who saw me wearing this one day, and she said, I would pay you to make me one of those. And I was like, I'll think about it. But this was mostly scraps, which is the intention of it, the scrapped again. And it is so fantastic and warm, and I love wearing it. I wear it to school all the time. But I'm not going to keep it on now because I'm warm. So a lot of different textures, a lot of just changing yarns. It's sort of a choose your own adventure kind of thing. There's like Latvian braids and I think Estonian braids too. I don't remember all of the details. Oh, and I also wanted to reknit the cuff. I forgot about that. Because I forgot about that until I saw it on the camera again. I don't like how it flares the way that it's done. And I will say, she designed it to have a wide open cuff. And I decided I wanted to have a more fitted wrist. So that is my fault because I'm not a designer. I don't know how to adjust things as well. But the hem, let me show you the hem. The hem is nicely folded over and it's actually double knit. And so I'm not sure that's what it was in the pattern. I believe that's what the button band was in the pattern. The button band was double knit. And it makes a beautiful finish. So my thought was at some point in time, I want to take out, this is a great finish it February or March to the finish thing. If you've not been around through a March to the finish with me, that is my annual March project that I do, my knit along. March to the finish is if you didn't finish it in February, you can march to the finish in March. So I will be doing that again. Colleen Selfish Knitter did ask about that because that was sort of in the accountability discussion of last week's episode. So there we go. Scrapped again, Ksenia Nedyan, and that was another test knit, which is, of course, why I actually finished it. It's funny, there was a point in my knitting life, I believe it was last spring, that I decided I just have to do test knits because if I don't test knit, I don't finish anything. Except for vanilla socks. Ay, ay, ay. So anyway, my next test knit was Alhambra. And this is a sweater by Isabel Kramer. And you can see the way that this, when I hold it up, you can see how much waist shaping I have added to this. That was a mistake. And during the test knit, I wish I had said something in the test knit group about doing this because I think she would have advised me on this. She was very present in the test knit group. She was very helpful. I think that's amazing. I mean, to be a knitwear designer and to be able to find the time to be online and help guide your knitters in their test knits, I think it's a fantastic thing. And it was totally, I can see this in the corner of my screen, totally my mistake. And now I'm wondering if there's something else on the screen. It's bugging me. Sorry. Anyhow, as if I've got the most pristine background. It's a bedroom converted to a craft room. Anyhow, Isabel Kramer was great with the group. She was great with the test knitters and helped everyone along the way. When people were discussing their yarn choices, she would chime in. I've been in a lot of test knit groups where there's a lot of discussion among just testers, and the designer is not as present as that. So it's good to see that. I mean, a lot of us definitely, when you're in a test knit group, a lot of times the other test knitters will help you out through the process. So, I mean, that's a good thing too. I think just the knitting community is very supportive. And if you have not test knit, I highly recommend you do it. I think, you know, if you see something come across your Instagram feed or something, I strongly recommend it. It's a great way to get things on and off the needles in a timely way. And it's fun. But I did not show this very closely. This has a lovely textured pattern that I really enjoyed. Very easily memorizable, as well as easy to do. It didn't take any extra time to try to focus on that aspect of it. It was easy to see, like if you made a mistake the row before, it was easy to see where that mistake was and to fix it right by dropping down if you're able to do such a thing, which I feel like that is something that everyone should learn, how to drop down and fix something within 1 or 2 rows. If you can do it within 1 or 2 rows, you can probably do it all the way down. It's just a little more awkward. The next thing I have, I believe this is the next one. Yes. Is Birdsong Shawl. And this is a pattern that was designed by Ksenia Nedyan. And I did talk extensively about this as I was doing it. I love this thing. This is so beautiful. This one stripe does stand out to me. I added that extra yarn in order to be able to have enough of the main colorways to get through. I would definitely prefer a different color. I even thought about using this yarn as my contrast there just to finish the pattern. But Ksenia said this was designed specifically to have 2 skeins of yarn. And again, my lack of communication was the problem. I should have gone to her and said, hey, I'm not going to make it with just 2 skeins. What can I do? And I know she said, oh, I would have given you some possibilities of how to finish this with the 2 skeins. And that's on me. I think that's a lesson that I keep learning in life is communicate, communicate, communicate. When you have some kind of problem, don't try to just power through on your own. Communicate. Anyhow, yep, that's my life. That's my life. So another one with a lot of different textures. I do remember there was one texture, I want to say it's this one, that I did not truly enjoy the process of, but it's a very cool final result. So it is this V-shaped loveliness, and I have a lot of green, don't I? It's funny if you look at my, you know how I was holding all of my socks together, then my next 3 knits had a whole lot of green. Interesting. So it's kind of a fade because I have the blue and green from like the blue purple phase into the blue green phase. And then we go into fall, where, let me see, let me make sure this is the next finish. I lined things up in the order that I finished them on the table here. So that's helpful. My next finish was the Solomon poncho. This is a pattern that was designed by Cheryl of Wise Owl Knits, and I did make some modifications to this. She has an open collar with buttons on it. You'll see in the picture. And I decided I wanted to do a turtleneck on it. So I have that. Let me just throw it over my head because that's easy enough to do. So I know I have shown this on previous podcasts. I love a turtleneck. There are people who are like, oh, I can't have things on my neck, but me, I love it. I love the look of it. I love the feel of it. And so this is, let me step back so you can see it in all of its glory. I have shown this on previous episodes, and this is the way she has it designed to be worn. She designed it with buttons up this side, I believe, right? Yeah. They would go up this side where this seam line is. I sewed this up so that it was just, you couldn't even see the seam. And then where hers is, the collar is open here. And then I think there's a couple of buttons along the side, but hers is, it's actually, it isn't buttoned up. She does say to seam it and then just sew the buttons on, making it look like it's buttoned, but you don't really button it. The other thing I wanted to say about this is I have been wearing this a lot in the mornings when I get up. If it's chilly and, I want to go sit on the couch and have my cup of coffee, I will just throw this on over my head, and it keeps me nice and cozy. Oftentimes, because this side is shorter, what I'll do is just put it like this so that I'm not sitting on any of it. I'll sit like this, and then I can just put my hands up in here and keep all toasty warm. And then, I can take my hands out and drink my coffee, and then stick my hands back in, or hold my cup of coffee like this and warm up my hands. So I just love this thing. And the way I finished this was by doing, I started out, it was probably my primary project for a while. And then I think I got to a point where I was like, I can't do this much pay attention knitting in a day. So I switched over to, I think that must be when I switched over to socks. I'm not sure. But I started doing just 2 rows a day on this, and that was perfect to get it done. If I have thought about for this year, what do I want to do to finish things? And I really kind of haven't had the time to sit down and truly think through everything that I have. Every time that I have a big spreadsheet that has all these whips on it that I am not even close to finishing many of them. I have other things that I have the patterns for, and I have the yarn for them, haven't even cast them on. I have things that I've swatched for and I haven't cast it on. I've had things that I bought tons and tons of yarn for and don't know when they're getting on my needles. So trying to put some sort of order into all of this chaos, which I'm sure in part comes from the beginning of the year feeling like I was in a sense of complete chaos and having health problems and everything. I think I was so unable to focus on any one thing for any extended period of time that it just sort of spiraled. And now I've got like all these things. And, you know, every time I think about the things that I have, I'm like, let's just get a new thing and cast it on. That sounds so much easier. So I'm really thinking that I need to rein things in. But I have one more finished object that I want to show, and I need to get this off because it's really warm. So my last finished object of 2024, if you've been around for any time, you probably have seen this. This is another Ksenia Nedyan test knit. So I did 3 test knits for her in 2024. That's amazing. I'm just now realizing this. Wow. Okay. Well, that makes sense. And one of the things that I have seen, I think she came on my radar because of the socks that I want to knit with this yarn. So on my regular episode, I will talk about that. But this is a cowl. Again, Ksenia, I would say her standard thing is let's play with texture and let's just put it all over the place. And I love that about this. This is the only one that doesn't have any kind of striping in it. You can add that if you want. She did suggest that's a possibility. If you have some scraps, you can, I think I saw one that did like the bobbles in a different color and there were a couple that had different stripes of different colors throughout. And I love this. This is so thick and warm, and like you can put it under a jacket, and it's going to keep you toasty. This is super bulky yarn. And it is amazing. So that is everything that I finished in 2024. My next episode, I will do a regular episode, and in that I will include a prompt for the next Sandy Bag giveaway. So if you are interested in that, please come back for that episode. I almost forgot. I wanted to get into the comments from last time. So I'm going to start with from Yarn Chicken ETM. I don't know what the ETM means. I know it used to be something else. But Tara said, I'm sorry, I keep scratching my side. I don't know if you guys are noticing that. I have a tag inside my turtleneck that I cut off, and it's still making me itch. So she says, I'm a big fan of accountability with knitting. It had helped me immensely in 2024 when I went from 23 whips to 4. That is 19 whips off the needles. That's amazing. I don't know how you do it. Because I get home and then I'm like, okay, I have to cook, I have to clean, I have to do laundry, I have to, run the dishwasher. I don't know if you have any pets to take care of. Yeah, you have chickens. Maybe the husband takes care of those things. I don't know. But that's a lot. That's a lot, Tara. Congratulations. That's amazing. You with your accountability, that's awesome. And she was telling me that she had a couple of friends who helped keep her accountable, which is really awesome. So if you will recall, on my last episode, which was about my Advent opening, I was asking if people were interested in an accountability group. And so I'm thinking maybe I will open up maybe a group on Telegram. Chime in. Let me know if that is something that interests you. It's funny because I said I'm not going to talk about it on this episode, and now here I am on this episode talking about it. So Sharon says, Happy New Year. I was rather sick over Christmas. I'm so sorry, Sharon. Muscled through my music responsibilities, then crashed on Christmas afternoon. Music? You have music responsibilities? I want to know about that, Sharon. Much better now and would like a redo. Son is going back to his home today. He coughed all week too. And I'm going to have the rest of the week to be lazy, eat good food, and craft whatever I feel like, or work a jigsaw puzzle. We do that too. I have a jigsaw puzzle on my coffee table that needs to be removed from there because it's a very Christmassy one, and I'm never going to work on that while I'm working. She said, usually happens Christmas week, but didn't this time. Yeah, I'm with you. After that, I'm up for some accountability partnering to make me finish some whips. So, yeah, I think having that in an app where whether it's one-on-one or as a group, I think that would be a lot of fun. And I also think it would be like, it might be a good idea to just have the PandemicKnittr community in a place where we communicate more regularly. I'd like to have that as like my own little thing. And I feel like Telegram is a good place for that. I like the way the Telegram app works where I know how, I don't know, for those of you who have not used Telegram, when you start a conversation, if somebody replies to that conversation, the original conversation is linked in the comment. So all you have to do is click on whatever the link was and it'll bring you back up to that comment. And then you click the down arrow and it'll bring you back to the post that you were just reading. So if you forget what that original comment was or post or whatever, you can always go back to it and read it and then come right back to where you were. So I really like that feature of it. You can post pictures, you can have subgroups. So, you know, we could have like the PandemicKnittr Telegram group, and then there could be a subgroup of accountability where, you know, this is just the people who have specific tasks they want to be accountable for. And we can like cheer each other on that way. And, you know, you can post pictures in either group, in both, whatever you want to do. You can post pictures. I mean, as with any group, you can post pictures all over the place. You know, if you want to post on Instagram and Ravelry and Telegram, whatever your choice is, you can do it. I just dropped my glasses. Okay. So Sandra says, hi Sandra, Happy New Year. I'm swatching for the Lord's sweater, Lourdes. I think I looked that up before. I forget what it looks like. Oh, there, yes. Okay. This is it's got like a wavy stitch on top. There's multiple stripes of waves, and then it's got lace, and then like the body of it in a contrast color, which, I mean, that's the main color really. The body and the sleeves are the same color, and it's very lacy all over, and it's beautiful. This is by Jennifer Beal, Lourdes. I don't know. So she says she's swatching for that sweater. And she says, I think I'll be casting on my favorite adventure this week. She says, I'm intrigued by the thought of an accountability thing, but I'm also not much of one to join in on things. Yeah, I can understand that. Like, it's hard because keeping up with your online life is another entirely separate hobby. And it's hard to have too many hobbies, too many groups you're involved with that you want to keep up with, and you don't want to miss anything. I have recently sort of pushed my groups to the side because I'm like, I don't have time to do all the knitting I want to do and keep up with all the groups that I'm in. So it's one of those things that, you know, I go in and out of phases with, and, you know, have to make choices sometimes. I don't like the way my bangs are splitting. I just got my hair cut mid-December. I should not have bangs in my eyes already. Need to talk to Cece about this. Okay. Eileen says, Happy New Year, Beth. I always start a mother bear on January 1st. This was new to me. Have you guys heard of this? Mother bear is, I kind of went back and forth with her asking about this a little bit. It is a charity knitting project for kids, I believe in Africa, who either have AIDS or somebody in their family has AIDS or some such thing. And so these kids have sort of been pushed aside from my understanding of how things are in this community, because there is this rampant AIDS epidemic in Africa. And this project goes back several years. So I don't know if anything has changed over time. I would certainly hope that things have changed and these children are in a better situation now. But this mother bear thing was really kind of cool. So Eileen says she knits a mother bear every year. She says she has a knit cardigan sweater and a crochet blanket on the needles, and then she doesn't know what she wants to knit next. So clearly, Eileen, you have no need for an accountability group because you do that quite well on your own. Selfish Knitter Colleen says, I prefer to set my own project deadlines, but they are usually arbitrary and I'm not great at meeting them. I tend to push myself a little harder to finish projects when I need to share a photo for a knit-along or wear it to a specific event. When I hosted a knit-along last year, that really made me feel like I had to finish my project on time. Is that something you would find as motivating as a test knit? And then she says, I'm hoping that you will do March to the Finish again in 2025. So I see that. Knit-alongs, a lot of people feel like they want to finish together with a knit-along. To me, I mean, I guess if you host one, that makes a difference. And Colleen, I don't remember. What knit-along did you host? I don't remember this. I'm sure it was something specific, and I feel like it may have been hats. I don't know. But if you haven't seen it, I don't know if it's on her grid. She did this one, I think it is on her grid. She did this video with, and this is Selfish Knitter. So Instagram, check out Selfish Knitter on Instagram. She finished this year of hats where it was all Kimber's Cozy Creation yarns. And she does this great video to end out the year where she put them all in a circle and like named each of the hats, like, you know, whatever the design was, and mentioned the colorway of the yarn. It's such a cute video. And like, fantastic job. Like, great production. I always just, when I put out videos, I'm like, it's good enough. And I know it's not like perfection by any stretch of the imagination. I would like to be more polished and creative, but I just don't have the time. Well, I could make the time, I'm sure, but that would mean time away from knitting and other things that I want to put my time into. So, it's one of those choices. But anyhow, yes, I am planning to do March to the Finish. I believe I mentioned that at some point in one of the last 2 videos. So March to the Finish will be happening again. I don't know what the prize is. If there's anybody out there who would like to donate prizes, please reach out to me. I would love to be able to share the work of one of the makers in our community who likes to sell things so that I can get your name out there more. So anybody who would like to donate, I would be happy to promote your business and get you out there. March to the Finish coming up in March. So we got a couple of months to get ready for that. So yeah, as far as me, feeling like I'm held accountable for a knit along, no, it doesn't do it for me. I don't know why. I really don't know why. I don't remember did I march anything to the finish last year? I don't remember. March was not my month last year. I feel like March, I was in the thick of all of my school nonsense as well as my health issues. So, and then, yeah, it lasted a long time. I felt like I was not fully out of, I still feel like I'm not fully out of my health issues. This past week, the week of New Year's, I was in a fog. And I think it's because of all of the junk I ate over the week of Christmas. And what happened is I would eat something and be like, okay, let's give it some time, see how I feel, see if I'm okay. And then I would eat something else and be like, all right, I'm okay. Nothing seems to be happening because of this. And then at some point, it all seemed to add up. And I was like, ugh, I actually did a full 24-hour fast on Friday, this past Friday, the 3rd. And then on Saturday, I wasn't hungry after the fast. I wasn't hungry during the fast. It was almost like I had set my mind to, I'm going to do this, and my body said, okay. So, yeah, I really wasn't hungry. I made sure to drink plenty of water. And then on Saturday morning, I drank coffee when I woke up, and I got the jitters like I don't usually get from drinking coffee. And I think that's because, empty stomach. So I thought, okay, I need to eat something to like get through this. And, I was finished with my 24-hour fast, which, if you think about it, turns out to be more of like a 36-hour fast, because if you didn't eat from the night before, so Thursday night, I stopped eating before I went to bed, and then all day Friday to bedtime, didn't eat, and then woke up Saturday morning and had my coffee, and then I ate. It was probably around 11 that I finally ate. And finally, I was like, whew, I feel human again. And I don't know how many days it was that I felt like I was in a fog. I really thought, here I am itching again. I really thought that I was going to have all this energy and get through the second week of break and get all this knitting done and everything. And I really feel like there were days that I didn't feel like knitting. I just wanted to, I mentioned to my husband too, that like I napped on and off throughout multiple days because I was just blah. And that is the health issues that I'm going through. My digestive system just cannot handle certain foods. Having my health physically for this digestive thing also helps my mental health tremendously. And going into the holiday, it was so good. I was so on track. I felt like, okay, I've gotten through all of this. I'm good. And then poof, right downhill. But the day of fasting, 10 out of 10. Highly recommend. So if you guys are ever feeling like your stomach issues are bothering you, give that a shot. It sounds difficult, but for one day, if I can do it while I'm at home with all the food around, you can do it too. And with that being said, thank you for watching. Comment below on whatever tickles your fancy. Remember to like, subscribe, survive, and thrive, and I will see you in the next one.